Whether it's shocking runway outfits, sneakers made using human blood, or whatever on earth this is, let's take a look at some outrageous examples of luxury brands going too far. Head to the Big Apple, and on East 57th Street and 5th Avenue, you'll see the biggest pile of luggage the world has ever seen. Towering 240 feet tall are 6 gray cases, each styled off of fashion house Louis Vuitton's iconic Trianon gray canvas hard-sided trunks. This 16-story pile of luggage doesn't have clothes in it though. It's one huge facade built to hide the fact they're destroying and rebuilding New York's flagship store, which sits within them. Using 3D scans, they've painstakingly reconstructed each section of the facade to look just like the real deal, including to-scale locks and latches, the largest of which weighs a staggering 5,000 pounds. That's about the weight of an African elephant. The towering structure is lined with strips of lighting, allowing it to be lit up like a Christmas tree, and it was even used as the canvas for a holiday-themed light show in 2024. But the elaborate structure wasn't cheap. While we don't know the exact cost of the facade, raising and rebuilding the entire flagship store will come at a hefty price. Just across the street is the newly renovated flagship Tiffany & Co., which is owned by the same conglomerate and cost an eye-watering $250 million. Only that building only had slight adjustments compared to what's planned at Louis Vuitton. By going hard on the marketing, they're looking to drum up more anticipation and recoup more of that cost. It must work since this isn't the only time they've done this. Another building they are renovating in Paris has the same facade. Not that they're hurting for money. While their New York store is under construction, they've temporarily moved to 6 East 57th Street. And it's hard to miss with the gargantuan giraffe and ostrich above the entrance. Step inside and you'll discover 5-story pillars of luxury trunks, a cafe, reading area, and even a chocolate shop. Fancy, right? Further afield though, Louis Vuitton's eccentricities got them into some real trouble. Back in 2013, they set up a massive installation right in Moscow's Red Square. Standing 30 feet high and stretching 100 feet across, the display was meant to be a celebration of the brand's history, showcasing cases once owned by world-famous celebrities. Only there was just one problem. People hated it. In a disastrously unthoughtful move, the giant case was set up right next to Russian revolutionary Vladimir Lenin's tomb and blocked the view of iconic sites like St. Basil's Cathedral and the State Historical Museum. Locals and government officials were peeved. It spoiled one of the city's grandest locations. I mean, imagine if Chanel decided to build a 10-story purse right in front of the Lincoln Memorial. With everyone up in arms, Louis Vuitton quickly caved and announced they'd tear the exhibit down in an embarrassing display of ineptitude. But now let's hop from a store you couldn't help but notice to quite possibly the most remote one in the world. 26 long miles from the nearest town, standing alone in the sweltering Texas desert is a baffling sight. A Prada store. At first glance, it might look like a mirage dreamed up by a parched fashionista, but this strange store is very much real, at least in one sense. Back in 2005, Scandinavian artist Michael Elmgreen and Ingar Dragset set up this tiny store on an empty stretch of Route 90. It was, believe it or not, the first Prada store in all of Texas. But despite its odd location, the artists weren't planning on selling high heels to passing cattle rustlers. Funnily enough, Prada allowed them to create the store as part of an art installation meant to critique the luxury goods industry, specifically the way luxury brands have infiltrated every major city. Seems a little self-defeating, but okay. Made from biodegradable materials, the idea was for the building to slowly melt under the relentless Texas sun. Yet it's lasted much longer than expected and seen a whole heap of drama. Despite lacking a functional door, the store was stocked with over $80,000 worth of real Prada handbags and shoes. Hold on, a fully stocked store full of expensive luxury goods out in the middle of nowhere with zero security? What's the worst that can happen? Well, the very same day the store was completed, burglars broke in and stole everything. Shocking. Elm Green and Draxit went through the costly process of repairing the damage and replacing the stolen goods, then did what they should have done in the first place: beefed up security and put GPS trackers on all the new items. But in 2014, the building was vandalized again. This time, nothing was stolen. However, the entire structure was painted blue and a load of Tom's ads were hung from outside. Tom's? Was this the move of an annoyed competitor? Well, no. Local artist Joe Magnano was arrested for defacing the building, and he just might have the weirdest defense I've ever heard. In an open letter, he stated that he hadn't vandalized the building at all, but was instead using it as a canvas to create his own public art. Yeah, I'm not sure how that's gonna hold up in court. No, Your Honor, I didn't TP my neighbor's house. I was just creating art. Regardless, the store was quickly cleaned up and has become somewhat of a landmark, attracting thousands of visitors each year. You know what they say, one person's trash is another person's treasure. At least that's the only explanation I can think of for what might be the dumbest fashion trend I've ever seen. In 2022, Balenciaga dropped a bold new design for their Paris sneakers by making them look like they'd been through a war zone. Seriously, you'd think that trashing a shoe would make it cheaper, right? Nope. These distressed sneakers will set you back a cool $1,850.
What?
While the slightly worn version will still cost you $600. Oh, great! But it doesn't stop there. Balenciaga also released some torn-up stained Japanese denim jeans for $2,500. And to complete the look, you can grab one of their distressed jackets for another $1,900. Add it all together and you're spending $7,000 to look homeless. Though after that purchase, you might end up the real deal. So I know what you're thinking. Why? Well, through all the holes, tears, and mud, the clothes are supposedly trying to convey authenticity, as in looking like the wearer isn't trying too hard. Oh, yes. Because spending thousands of dollars on a purposely destroyed outfit definitely doesn't sound try hard.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way.
If you ask me, it's totally ridiculous, which a lot of people agree with. The trend has been adopted by other fashion labels too, and heavily criticized for fetishizing poverty as well as looking plain bad. But now, let's take things a step further. Let me introduce you to the pre-Peden jeans.
Oh! Ew!
Shown off as part of Jordan Lucas' Fall/Winter 2023 collection, these very real pants come with an unmistakable dark spot right in the crotch area. Now, I'm pretty sure no actual pee was used here, but considering they'll run you up to $800, you'd think they could at least throw some on. Jordan Lucas is known for challenging fashion norms, so I guess these jeans are meant to be some kind of rebellious satire against capitalism? Because nothing screams, "Take that, capitalism," quite like selling overpriced, ugly pants to a bunch of rich kids. In all honesty, who'd actually buy these? Wait, what do you mean they sold out almost instantly? Wait, what? Do you mean traffic on Jordan Lucas' website shot up by over 1,000% when they released? God save us all. If you've ever dipped your toes into the world of fashion, chances are you've come across ridiculous, unwearable outfits like this grimace purple propeller top dress. Designed by James Walsh, this mini dress, if you can even call it that, made its debut during the 2022 London Fashion Week. While it might not be obvious from the front, it's actually in the shape of an airplane. And yes, the propeller on top actually spins. Walsh later said he liked how the outfit represented freedom, even though to me it looks as comfortable as a middle seat in economy. So who in the world would actually wear this? Well, it turns out, nobody. And that's by design. How does that make sense, you ask? Before I can answer that, I need to quickly answer a broader question. What exactly are runway shows for? Twice a year, fashion fanatics get excited for a week-long run in New York, London, Milan, and Paris. Most of the big shows during these weeks are where high-end fashion brands like Calvin Klein or Tom Ford show off their seasonal collections and ready-to-wear outfits. Occasionally, clothes like those pea jeans we talked about earlier are shown off as one-offs, limited-time items sold online. Meanwhile, other designers use runway shows to set the mood for their upcoming collections. introducing new fabrics or hinting at a move towards loose cuts, but without the outfits themselves being for sale. Think of it like a movie teaser trailer, but for clothes. Other designs might be used to reinforce a brand's identity, like when Dutch fashion brand Victor and Rolf revealed this disorienting upside-down ball gown. Shown off for the 2023 Paris Couture Week, 18 similarly surreal dresses grabbed people's attention. While unlikely to go on sale at JCPenney, they do get people talking and emphasize the brand's unconventional approach to fashion. Then there's the really weird stuff like our purple plane from earlier. So what's going on there? For some designers, fashion isn't about making money, it's about art. So it's less like a fashion show and more like an art gallery, one where the paintings are worn by people. And we all know there are no rules in art. For example, you could do what Rai Kawakubo did in 2017 and design an outfit without any actual arms. This strange design is supposed to be a satire of the often overly perfect and voluptuous depictions of the female form, like the famous ancient Greek sculpture Venus de Milo. Although to my artistically untrained eye, it looks more like a woman wearing a portable sleeping bag and a tinfoil hat. Or take this lady dressed like an inflatable pool. This creation came from the mind of Edwin Money, who unveiled it at his debut collection during the Central St. Martin's MA show. Money himself said the goal was to shake up people's expectations of what a runway show could be. So, commercial success? Not really on his radar. Or check out Plank Head over here. Designed by Craig Green, this massive, incredibly uncomfortably looking headwear is meant to accentuate the organic design of the rest of the outfit, creating a more earthy, nomadic feeling. I suppose that's why it looks like it could work double as a wearable bird's nest. Yet somehow some fashion shows can get even stranger. In this show from Rick Owens in 2016, the models are wearing other models. Apparently, this is a commentary on motherhood and sisterhood, symbolizing women supporting women. Though in this case, that support is literally on their backs. But enough of that. Have you ever wondered what would happen if someone took a bike pump to MC Hammer's wardrobe? No? Well, if you had, these inflatable pants are exactly what they'd look like. Designed by Hare Krishnan in 2020, these bulbous statements first made their grand entrance as part of his graduate collection at the London College of Fashion. The latex garment fits snugly around the waist, but to really complete the look, there's a 1/4-inch valve on the backside to pump in that all-important air. And voila! You never have to worry about skipping leg day again. Hare Krishnan says the idea came to him while playing with his dog. He'd started thinking about how strange he'd look from his dog's angle, so naturally decided to distort the human shape with pants that inflate like a party balloon. I'm not sure I tracked the thought process, but whatever. Just 6 months after making their runway debut, these pants were available to order through the APOC store and are now on sale on Hare Krishnan's website. So if you're feeling brave, you can get your own pair for just $2,000. What a steal. Still not impressed though? Well, wait until you see this outfit in its final form. Pop star Sam Smith hit the Brit Awards in 2023 in an all-black, fully inflated one-piece version. Yeah, it's not for me, folks. At least it's not satanic though, right? Instead, why not make a slightly more normal impression with these ultra-steep thigh-high boots designed by fashion brands Vetements and Manolo Blahnik? Honestly, they look like bougie cowboy chaps. In 2021, rapper Lil Nas X teamed up with Brooklyn-based art collective MSCHF and dropped a pair of kicks they devilishly called the Satan Shoes. True to their name, each shoe came with a bronze pentagram and inverted cross on the outside, as well as another pentagram inside the heel. Oh, and you see that text, Luke 10:18? That's a Bible verse that reads, "I saw Satan fall like lightning from heaven." Appropriately devil-related again, then. But wait, there's more! Each air bubble sole was filled with 2 fluid ounces of red ink plus a single drop of blood provided by members of MSCHF.
What?
And to really seal the deal, they only made 666 pairs of these bad boys. Of course, despite costing a pricey $1,018, another reference to that verse, they sold out in record time. A recent Lil Nas X music video even shows the rapper going to hell and killing Satan, who, surprise, is wearing the shoes. Despite the demand, though, not everyone was thrilled with these devilish kicks. South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem called them perverted, and evangelical pastor Mark Burns referred to them as evil and heresy. Luckily for them, MSCHF is behind a different shoe that looks right up their street. In opposition to the devil shoes, these dove white shoes sported a steel crucifix attached to the laces and a bubble sole filled not with blood, but holy water. But Christianity wasn't what brought these Satan shoes down. No, it was something even more powerful. The Nike Corporation. You see, they were actually modified Nike Air Max 97s. Stupidly, they'd even kept the iconic swoosh. So many people saw them and immediately thought Nike was collabing with a bunch of Satanists. In response, the sports brand filed a lawsuit against MSCHF, and the shoes were recalled that same year. Now, if you want to get your hands on a pair, you'll have to do a summoning ritual. But if there's one piece of footwear that belongs in the darkest corner of hell, it'd be these Crocs stilettos revealed in 2021. Born from an unholy alliance between Crocs and Balenciaga, you can enjoy being a public laughingstock for $1,000. Fashion is all about chasing the latest trends, but what happens when the next big thing turns out to be a total flop? Well, in the case of NFT fashion, you get one of the greatest crashes in fashion history. But first, what is an NFT? Well, it stands for non-fungible token, which is just a fancy way of saying digital asset, like a picture or video. Each NFT has a unique digital signature guaranteeing it's the one true original, something it turns out people will pay a hefty price for. Around 2019, the Scandinavian fashion line Carlings became one of the first ever to start selling NFTs of digital clothing that could be worn in augmented reality. That's when you mess with the real world using virtual technology, like using filters on your phone. But filters I get. Why would anyone want digital clothes? Well, really, only for photos. So you can look like you're dripped out to your 19 Instagram followers without having to pay a premium for it. Man, someone stop the world, cause I'm getting off. But it wasn't until 2020, in the midst of the global pandemic, that the NFT fashion industry really skyrocketed, with its trading value jumping from $82 million to $17 billion in just 1 year. By 2022, fashion giants like Nike, Gucci, and Dolce & Gabbana were selling their own custom NFT collections, raking in over $245 million. But surely this revenue wasn't all from posers posting in augmented reality garbs. Well, no. Many luxury brands by this time were going totally digital and selling outfits to people that use virtual reality platforms like Decentraland. Basically, it's an online virtual space people can hang out in using custom avatars, which they can equip with digital clothes they've bought using real money. Which I suppose I can understand a bit more, but still sounds insane to me. There's clearly a market for it, though. Every year since 2022, Decentraland has hosted the Metaverse Fashion Week, where over 70 big brands, including Tommy Hilfiger and Karl Lagerfeld, showcase virtual fashion on virtual models at a virtual fashion show. And that's a sentence I never thought I'd say. At the craze's peak, artists were selling limited edition digital items at absurdly high prices. One person even shelled out over $57,000 for a single jacket, or whatever you call this thing. While most of the idiots who bought this stuff did so for social clout, other people saw these virtual outfits as an investment. Just like how someone might buy land, people started buying these digital assets, waiting until demand rose, then selling them on for a profit. But just like any good fashion trend, the NFT craze wouldn't last. By the end of 2023, the bubble burst hard. Reports came out showing that a shocking 95% of NFTs were practically worthless.
Dope!
Who'd have thunk it? So those who spent hundreds or thousands on digital art, well, their shiny new NFTs were now worth far less than what they paid.
Whoa.
Considering a lot of the hype was built on these investments, that was a big problem. What caused the crash, though? Simple. There were just way too many NFTs and not enough buyers willing to fork out for them. Will we see NFTs rise again? Quite possibly. Which is why I'd like to announce my very own BMA's branded virtual face mask. Get yours today for the low price of $50,000. Let's switch gears from the latest fad to the oldest accessory in the book, the wristwatch. For centuries, it's done double duty as both a timekeeper and a way to show off a little style. But if it's such ancient tech, why are these things so dang expensive? And no, I'm not just talking about your diamond-encrusted glow-in-the-dark watches. Take a look at this basic stainless steel watch from Omega. How much do you think it cost? $500? $800? Nope. Try nearly $4,500. Keep in mind that this pricey timepiece can't do more than your average plastic toy watch from the arcade. And hey, at least those have Spider-Man on them. So how do watch brands justify the jaw-dropping price tags? Well, a bunch of things can bump up the cost. Materials, labor, and of course, marketing. But the real kicker is this: the higher the price, the more people want it. Studies show that as luxury items get pricier, people with the moolah are more likely to buy them. This is why brands like Louis Vuitton and TAG Heuer ditch their cheaper watches in favor of high-end models with prices ranging from $10,000 to a dizzying $500,000. And just to make it extra fun, there are a few secret hoops you've gotta jump through. Let me tell you a story about a guy who wanted to buy a $6,000 Rolex. Pretty pricey, right? But he'd saved the money and rightfully assumed he'd be able to walk into the store and just buy it. Nope. Turns out before you can even think about getting that fancy Rolex, you need to build a, quote, relationship with the brand. Why? Because Rolex, which owns a quarter of the luxury watch market, only makes about 1 million watches a year, which is comparatively very few. So the guy asked the clerk what exactly was expected of him to form this so-called relationship. The answer? Spending about $130,000. I guess that's the thing with luxury items. They aren't a luxury if normal people could actually afford them. Honestly, it's gross. In the world of high-end fashion, sometimes being unforgettable is more important than actually being stylish. Don't believe me? Take a look at this Louis Vuitton handbag for men that's shaped like an airplane. Created by designer Virgil Abloh, this high-end leather bag made a big splash when it touched down in Louis Vuitton's 2021 Fall-Winter catalog. With a literal wingspan of 35 inches, this thing is equal parts eyesore and cumbersome. Virgil said the bag's design represents boyhood, travel, and imagination, while also challenging male fashion archetypes. But let's be real, if anyone actually tried to store this thing in their flight overhead, the only thing it would be challenging is their fellow passengers' patience. And if you're wondering how much this flying fashion statement will set you back, brace yourself. It's a whopping $60,000. To put that into perspective, a single-engine plane can cost around $15,000. Yep, this bag cost 4 times as much as a real airplane. That's bonkers. Despite the sky-high price tag and seriously tacky design, some folks like pop star Chris Brown were quick to snatch one up. But I know what you're thinking. A bag that can fly through the clouds? Pfft, who cares? Well, how about a bag that's literally out of this world? Back in 2023, the French brand Coperni revealed a line of handbags made from resin mixed with pieces of actual meteorite. Measuring a sleek 9 inches and weighing just under 4 pounds, Coperni promises each of these bags is totally unique. See, when a meteor hurtles through the atmosphere, the air pressure cracks it apart, creating one-of-a-kind fragments. And if you're still not impressed, this meteorite supposedly fell 55,000 years ago. Yep, that's during the Ice Age. So for a cool $45,000, you could be rocking a prehistoric handbag. Talk about a conversation starter. Now, Coperni has kept the details of how they got their hands on this precious space rock pretty hush-hush. Despite providing certificates of the bag's authenticity, they haven't disclosed how they found or acquired the material. And while I'd never question the integrity of a luxury brand, I'd kind of want to know a bit more before I drop $45,000. Every once in a while, you come across something so shockingly insane that you wonder, How did nobody notice this? Like this wool sweater from Gucci. Part of their 2018 fall-winter line, this questionable sweater was priced at a cool $890. Featuring black fabric with a large red lip design that could be lifted over the woman's mouth, people quickly started drawing comparisons to dated and offensive caricatures seen in minstrel shows. For those who don't know, minstrel shows were a form of entertainment in the 19th and 20th centuries, mostly involving white performers wearing makeup and mocking African American people. Needless to say, it was deeply offensive. So designing a brand new sweater that looks almost identical got people furious. And if that wasn't enough, Gucci released this during Black History Month. Yikes. What were they thinking? Giving Gucci the benefit of the doubt, this terrible design may have just been out of ignorance rather than an actual hateful intention, but I'm not so sure. Needless to say, the sweater was pulled and Gucci issued an apology promising to turn the incident into a learning moment. While if this was a lesson, it sure was a bad way to learn it. Around that same time, Chanel had a similar controversy after revealing their own patented boomerang accessory for $2,000. People immediately accused them of mocking indigenous Australian culture, and I guess you could say that marketing stunt swung right back at them. Some people show off by buying expensive sports cars, others with luxury outfits. But Tiffany & Co. have a bold new idea with their everyday objects collection. Take a bunch of cheap junk and make it cost a fortune. Like these sterling silver cups made to look like disposable paper ones. Any guesses how much they cost? $350. Okay, that's pretty pricey, but at least they have an actual use. Don't worry, it gets way stupider. How about a $1,000 marker or a sterling silver clothespin for $800? Still not impressed? Then what about a decorative bird's nest that costs $10,000? Jeez. Tiffany & Co. says their goal is to transform utilitarian items into handcrafted works of art. While I'd say it's definitely a unique idea, many have criticized them for how tacky and overpriced this collection is. And there I was thinking a $9,000 ball of silver yarn was a steal.
Oh, DD, oh, what it is? Oh, DD, what it is?
But what if you're looking for the cold touch of pristine metal on a budget? Well, you can grab a sterling silver paperclip from Prada for just $195. It is about twice the size of a normal paperclip, but for that price, you can buy 20,000 normal paperclips. Have you ever been cornered at a party by someone going on and on about the healing power of crystals? I mean, who actually believes that stuff? Well, apparently a lot of people, and they've got cash to burn. Despite zero evidence that they work, some folks are convinced that gemstones can do everything from helping you score a raise at work to curing serious health issues. One company has certainly cashed in on this belief, the wellness and lifestyle brand Goop. Founded by Hollywood star Gwyneth Paltrow in 2008, Goop is a wellness and lifestyle brand built on promoting connection and resonance everywhere you go. When we plug that into the crapometer, it comes out as selling you a bunch of overpriced nonsense. For example, you can buy this $80 water bottle with a giant rose quartz crystal right in the middle. $80 for a water bottle? But don't worry, rose quartz is said to open up your heart chakra and promote peace, compassion, and love. And if you need a little extra peaceful energy, you can drink from this crystal straw too. If after all that your heart chakra still feels a bit blocked, you can even use a rose quartz massage roller for your face. But you ain't seen anything yet. In a move that really pushes the boundaries of what on earth were they thinking, Goop released this 1-inch jade egg designed to put up your, well, lady bits. Wait, what? Supposedly, jade promotes physical healing and gets rid of negative energy, so Goop boldly claimed that these eggs can help balance hormones, regulate menstrual cycles, and even improve bladder control. But not everyone was on board with these unique products. In 2018, Goop lost a $145,000 civil lawsuit for their unproven claims and were forced to backtrack on promises relating to the egg and some of their other healing products. Despite that public embarrassment in 2024, Goop was valued at $250 million and seems to be doing pretty well. It appears those crystals really do have profit-making powers. Is there anything cooler than skateboarding? Doing gnarly tricks, catching serious air, going to the ER cause you mistimed a rail grind. But as skateboarding has grown in popularity, luxury brands have started looking for a way to get in on the action. Case in point, this Barranco skateboard that'll set you back a casual $750. Because nothing says, look how cool I am, like walking into a skate park with a board that cost a month's pay. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Check out this marble skateboard from Saint Laurent going for just under $5,000. Despite that insane price tag, the wheels are sold separately. And don't even think about doing tricks on this thing with all that extra weight. You need calves like tree trunks. Then there's the dream team of overpriced crap, Louis Vuitton and Supreme, who've come together to create a board priced at a jaw-dropping $80,000. Yep, you heard that right. At least it comes with wheels, I guess. The worst part of all this is that your average board usually lasts a few months at best before breaking. So unless you're using that indestructible marble board, you'd essentially just be throwing tens of thousands of dollars down the drain. And if you're buying just for show, good for you, I guess, but I'd rather have anything else than a skateboard I can't ride. For example, check out this Louis Vuitton Jenga set, every piece crafted from plexiglass cubes. Talk about hours of luxury family fun for just over $3,000. Or maybe try wasting $1,000 on these Bottega Veneta shoes that share a striking resemblance with ramen noodles. Between plexiglass Jenga and noodle heels, I feel like I'm describing the world's richest frat house. While we've had our share of laughs at the absurdity of high-end fashion, there's another side to this industry that's equally, if not even more insane. The world of fast fashion. What is fast fashion, you ask? If you've ever wandered into Zara or H&M and sifted through mountains of t-shirts, congratulations, you're looking at fast fashion. This industry is all about cranking out an endless supply of cheap clothing every hour they're open. The problem? It makes a mind-boggling amount of trash. I'm talking an estimated 92 million tons of textile waste every year, with all of it ending up in landfills. It's also responsible for nearly 10% of global carbon emissions, and the dyeing and finishing processes are responsible for over 20% of global wastewater. And then there's the water needed to actually grow the fabrics. It takes about 600 gallons of water to grow enough cotton for just one t-shirt. That's enough water for someone to live off of for 2 years. And considering cotton is used in almost half of all fast fashion brands, that's a truly unimaginable amount of water going towards your friend's ironic "I'm with stupid" tea. And it gets worse. In the last 20 years, global fiber production has nearly doubled, creating over 116 million tons of waste in just 1 year. High-end fashion isn't off the hook either. Some luxury brands will sell unsold stock to outlet stores at discounted prices, but many will just destroy unsold items to maintain that exclusive vibe. That means tossing thousands of luxury outfits into the incinerator. On top of all this environmental chaos, there's the impact on the 75 million plus workers making these clothes across the world for as little as 15 cents an hour. So is there anything that can actually be done about all this? Some folks suggest switching to more sustainable fabrics like silk, organic cotton, or hemp. Others propose offsetting the damage by moving away from fossil fuels and switching to renewable energy sources. There are also groups like Pay Up who've pushed fashion brands like H&M and Gap to actually give their workers a reasonable wage. Here's hoping we start to see some real progress. Until then, in solidarity, I've refused to change into a different pair of clothes for the last 2 months. Which of these brand blunders surprised you the most? Did I miss any that you've seen before? Let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.